Let's talk about this bill in California that died, which would have banned kids under the age of 13 from playing tackle football. Joshua, let's start with you here. How do you think we should regulate a contact sport like football at such a young age?
This is one I'm actually really torn on because I personally do not think that kids under 13 need to be playing tackle football. The main reason why I believe that is because I do not think we have good enough coaches for youth football. So we're not teaching kids fundamentals, and we're not teaching kids how to tackle properly, how to control their bodies. I don't think I've ever been to practice where anybody taught a kid how to take a hit, right? Like, we teach them how to hit, but not how to take a hit. And so a lot of times you're dealing with young people who lack motor coordination, got skinny necks and big heads, and those can create situations where you got the head bobbling around, and it's not necessarily good. I also appreciate every lesson I ever learned on the football field. I think it's the most valuable thing I ever did in my life was playing the game of football to develop who I am as a person. And so I feel conflicted about potentially taking that opportunity away from young people, but getting ready to become a father here, not putting my son in football when he's too young. I'm just not going to do it.
Clay, what about you?
I love what you said about, like, teaching you so much about life, about dedication, discipline, all that good stuff. It's huge, and I think you learn so much. But for me, I think there's a couple of things we can do to fix it. Firstly, is let's play flag football. Flag football is fun. You know, you can still learn football, flag football, have guys up front that are blockers, but you're not taking the big hits, the big tackles. Let's do some flag football. Secondly, here was my first thought, is standardization. Everybody has to write a video, make a video, standardized video of how to do the things right. Keep your head up, your back flat, how to tackle. If you're going to play football, you have to watch that video, how to do it. And, somebody else who could probably watch that video would be the Philadelphia Eagles. As an Eagles fan, that game, 13 missed tackles. I mean, it looked terrible in the game. 219 yards given up to the Bucks.
Tackling is an epidemic right now, I think, in all levels of football, so I don't disagree with you on that. USA Football actually does a really good job with their training modules for coaches. I'm just not exactly sure enough coaches are watching them. And then to your point about flag football, also very inclusive, and I think that matters when it comes to youth sports as well.
It's really interesting you're talking about taking a hit. My mind went to Friday Night Lights. Anybody watch that show? Jason Street, that was the big deal.
Watch the movie.
TV show is the way to go. But that was the same deal. He was never taught how to take a hit, ultimately had a lingering injury that
put your kids in tumbling.
But how does this relate to hockey?
Yeah, I mean, like, there's similar discussions happening in hockey right now where it's, the game is sort of transitioning away from being super violent and, it's more skill-based, younger guys, kind of avoiding contact. And we've seen so many times guys who may not necessarily be great at taking hits. And I don't want to see the physicality taken out of the game, but I also don't want to see guys getting seriously hurt. And I think that it's just as important to teach people how to hit properly as it is to teach them how to take the hit properly. Because oftentimes, like, you'll see a guy turn away from contact and turn towards the boards, and he'll get hit from behind, and he'll get put into a vulnerable position going head first into the boards. And that might be more likely to injure you seriously as a serious big hit would be. So, I think that if you're going to keep physicality in the game, and obviously it's going to be hard to take physicality out of football, it's probably harder than it is to take it out of hockey. Like, we've seen different levels of hockey where checking isn't allowed. And the game is still more kind of watchable than it would be as a football product. So, I think that if you're going to keep it in the game, you have to teach kids, and I think from a young age, to do it properly on both ends. And I don't know where that starts in terms of the line for an age perspective, but I think that education is never a bad thing, and neither is practice and reps in terms of taking and giving in terms of physicality.